Hello, everyone. I'm happy today to chat with Chiat Cheong from PhD Power. My name is Benedict. I'm a member of the PhDOOC Association, and I'm happy to be able to interview Chiat today. This video will be posted in the MOOC, in the very first unit of the MOOC about skills and competencies. Hello, Chiat. It's very nice to see you.
Very pleased to be here.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Chiat Cheong, as you can see written here. It's pronounced as Kia. And I am a career coach, and I guide people in career development, so PhDs and postdocs. And I also set up programs and career services for academic institutions. I have a website, PhD Power. So if you want to learn a bit more about me, that's where you can have a look. About myself, I'm a scientist by training. In the past, I did research myself. I have a PhD in engineering viruses for cancer therapy, and that's the topic where I did my both my PhD and my postdoc in. I traveled around Europe to carry out my research, and now I'm based in the Netherlands, but I'm working internationally with research from throughout Europe and some of them a bit further away. So my first life, my first career was in science, and then in 2009 I changed the focus of my career. The new focus became supporting PhD candidates and PhD graduates in developing their career. Because as you probably know, the majority of PhD graduates, they will not continue their career forever in academia. And so they have to look what is the next continuation of their career. And they have so many capabilities, but it's not very obvious what is a good choice to make. And that's where I come in and I guide them. So this is what I'm doing as a freelance, but I also worked for the University of Amsterdam, and now I also have a part-time employment at the German Cancer Research Institute in Heidelberg. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Kia. And actually, our MOOC is trying to do the same thing, basically trying to guide people in the reflection about their career development. And we start by asking people to assess their skills. And so the first question I have for you is, how would you define a skill? And are there differences between a skill and a quality?
Yeah, very important question. What I consider as a skill is something you can acquire, a technique or an ability. So I think statistical analysis or presentation skills, you're not born with that skill. It's something you can learn. And to highlight what is more important about skill, there are transferable skills as well. Some people call it soft skill. I prefer transferable skill because soft skills sounds a bit secondary to hard skills. Transferable skills are skills that you learn at in one context, but you can, if you move your job somewhere else, your career somewhere else, then you can still apply them. So presentational skills or language skills, it's something that you can learn during your PhD, but it's great to have them, and it's very valuable outside. Equality is something I consider something that is you're born with it. Perseverance, the ability to work hard. These are things that you can prove during a PhD, because I think without that, you probably will not survive the PhD. I think you would stop very quickly. But by having done a PhD, you have proven that you have them. Yeah, so that's the distinguish. So how I distinguish the two.
Thank you. That's interesting. And how important do you think it is for PhDs to be aware of their skills and their preferences?
I think very important. Yeah. From my practice, I've noticed that lots of PhDs underestimate their abilities, and that's because you're in an academic environment and everyone is kind of the same smart, so you do not stand out in the environment. And when you're a PhD candidate, you're only on the first ladder of the academic career. And also because in the academic environment, there is a tendency, there is most focus on the scientific skills. So there's lots of emphasis about scientific writing, maybe the research skills you have, the topic knowledge. And if that becomes your identity, if you see yourself as a professional only in that expert profile, that has a consequence for your feeling of your employability, because then who is looking for this expert profile? I think there are very few groups who happen to work in the same topic. Then you would be interesting for these people. But then it's quite difficult to see yourself in another context, and especially for the people who have to make a transition or want to make a transition, it's very difficult. And I think if you're very much aware of the PhD skills and qualities, I call it PhD power, then actually you will see that lots of doors are open, because with a PhD you can do almost anything. Then you really have the choice to choose the career you want. I'm not saying it's a simple step. Maybe you have to work for it if you want to make a transition. But there is nothing that holds you back, because you have the intelligence, you have the analytical skills, you can work hard. So without the awareness of your PhD power, it's very difficult to be in charge of your career decisions. So I think that's really step one: be aware of what you have to offer, and then start making choices.
Great, nice. Thank you, Kia. And actually, to help people discover their PhD power, it's nice to guide them through assessing what their skills are. And so I was wondering if you were advising people to use specific tools or methods to actually assess their skills and to put words on specific skills that they have gained during their PhD, or even during other experiences that they had.
Mm-hmm. There are several models being published because in this career meetings, there are often discussions about, okay, let's make an overview of the transferable skills and qualities people have. One I particularly like, I would like to invite people to have a look. In the UK, there has been a research has been done by Vitae about the employability of PhD graduates, and they made an employability lens. So I think if you Google Vitae and employability lens, a very nice overview will appear, and people, I refer them to this one. They're usually positively surprised about, oh, I was not aware, but indeed, yes, I have these skills. So have a go. I would invite people to have a go and have a look at the Vitae employability lens.
All right, thank you. And then once people know their skills, they have to talk about them. They have to prove that they have them. And so do you have any advice on how people can provide or deliver a pitch about their skills and show that they can actually be a good fit for a specific job?
Yeah, very good question, because there is sometimes the misconception that you need a certificate to prove you have a skill. And whereas a PhD, that's by doing that you have a proof for lots of skills. But how to do this? One method you can use is using the STAR model with this STAR, and it stands for storytelling technique, to highlight the skills and put weight on what you have by describing a situation, describe your task, the actions and the results. It's a very common technique, but I think it's very useful to acquire that one. And if you find it difficult, find a career advisor, because these people are professionals and know how to help you in identifying what is important and how to highlight that. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Zia. And actually, I have one last question for you. Once people have identified their skills, once they feel empowered about their competencies, and once they feel like they can actually make the jump sometimes outside of academia, how would you advise them to move forward and find a job that can be a good fit for them?
Yeah. An important step is to decide on what you want to do in future, not based on only your capabilities, because PhD graduates, they have such a broad spectrum of skills, and qualities they are bringing in. And basically, as I said, you can do any job, or you can qualify yourself for any job. But what you're able to do is not necessarily the good job for you, because I think one feature of a PhD graduate is that they are versatile and eager to learn. But if it's something that you do not like to do, I think you can still deliver success to the job, and your boss will be very happy about you. But then I wonder whether that is the job that makes you happy as well. And in order to stay motivated, you have to like it. So I would turn it around. Instead of choosing your job according to your capabilities, be aware of the jobs and assume you have the choice. And in practice, it's work like this as well. And then ask yourself the questions like, what do I really like to do? Do I like the writing? Do I like to be in the spotlight? And what do you need from a job? Like what I hear a lot from PhD graduates, autonomy is a very important feature. We PhD who do not like to be told what to do, how to do it exactly, give us a big problem, and we all use our analytical skills to see what needs to be done and plan ourselves. Maybe you would like to have a better work-life balance, and what does that mean for you? So what do you like to do? What should your work provide you? It should also match with your personality. So also be aware of how are you in a natural way? What are your preferences? And it helps to determine whether a job is suitable for you or not. And based on that profile, what you need and what you want, it becomes like a simple question to see like, okay, what is it called and where can we find it? And I guide people through this process, like using networking techniques to identify, according to that profile, what is a suitable job. But you need that profile first before you can do the search. And before you do the profile, I think you need to be aware of that you can do a lot, because if you think you're depending on whoever hires you, that's not a good starting position. So skills and qualities first, then what are your needs? What do you want? And I know it sounds very simple as I say, and it's more complicated because otherwise I would not have a job. Go to your career advisor if you're dealing with this, because sometimes it's not that obvious, and there are some couple of tricks and techniques to learn. But as a PhD graduate, you can do this, so that should not be an obstacle.
Great, thank you, Kia. And actually, I really like your answer because you've highlighted all the different topics that we're going to explore in the MOOC. In the next unit, you will learn how to build an individual development plan. So you will have to think about all the questions Kia just told us about. What are your values? What do you want to get from your work? What does working mean to you? And many other questions to help you define what your values are, what your interests are, and then you will be able to put those in parallel with the skills you just identified, and then move forward and move on to networking and so on. So Kia, I would like to thank you so much for your time. It was delightful to have you with us today. Thank you for your answers.
Very welcome.
And I wish you all the best.
Good luck with your MOOCs. Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.